Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I am going to be showing you guys how I like to start my ranunculus. And there's the ideal way to do it, and then there's the way that I am doing it right now. When I soaked my corms several days ago, I ended up getting the flu very promptly after that, and so I had to kind of just try to keep them moist but not let them, rot. So not ideal conditions, but let's see if I can sprout these ranunculus in non-ideal conditions, then I think that you guys can do it as well. After we start our ranunculus, then we're going to be going out to the east garden where I'm going to be direct sowing some Orlaya and some leftover packets of Larkspur that I have on hand. No seed shall go wasted this season. So for the ranunculus, as of right now, I did buy some Costco varieties that I will be starting. Just with my illness, I wasn't able to get all of them started, and I will in the next couple of days, and I actually should probably have room on this entire tray. So we are going to be lining this with foil. This is a basic just plant carrier that you get from the garden center. I didn't pay anything for it. So I like to use these things because they have structure to the bottom of them, but then they also have holes on them. And I'm going to be using aluminum foil and poking holes in the aluminum foil to kind of line and keep the varieties separated. So I'll show you as we go. So for the ranunculus that we're starting today, this is more of a high-end. I haven't ever spent this much money. It's kind of a splurge. I bought them from Fleur Farm. They are all Amandine ranunculus, and Amandine is known as for a variety that's actually more suitable for warmer weather. So ranunculus has a reputation for doing wonderful in the spring, and as long as you live somewhere that has a long spring, cooler temperatures, basically the longer time span you'll get out of them. Last summer, I do think they are worth your while, however, because this early spring, I had 2 good months of full blooms that I was picking several times a week. They were very productive, and 2 months of a certain variety that is like a wonderful main flower for a bouquet is a wonderful deal. And this variety is porcelain, and I have 20 of those. And then I have the Amandine Bonbon, and this is more, I'll put the pictures up so you can see. This is more of like a hot pink, which is interesting. I never really go for the hot pink before, but I really couldn't resist it this year. So we're going with that. I have 10 of these, and I have 10 of the antique pinks, and I would love to buy more. There's only 40 here, but on the website, it says that they are good for 9 to 14, 15 cuts off of each plant. And I know that the ranunculus that I had earlier this year, I was cutting and cutting and cutting for 2 months and had tons of blooms. So if they're prolific like that, then I think that it'll be just fine. Ideally, you want to soak these corms, and they sent a little card over with instructions, and they said to use an air pump in the water to keep air flowing through the water. I mean, they're probably saying that to commercial growers. I'm just a home grower. This is just my home garden. And so I soaked them for 6 hours, and when I walked by and remembered them, I zhuzhed the water for a quick minute. And so I soaked them, and then over the last several days that I've been really ill, I have just tried to keep them from drying out again, because you want them to soak up a nice amount of that water is what you're trying to do, and they really kind of take on a softer texture, and they're much more pliable, but it's a fine line between that and rotting them. So 6 hours, no more. And I think that I only actually lost one that appeared to be rotten, which is good news for us. So the soil, I'm just using regular potting mix. Some of it is a little bit wet already. You don't want to rot your corms. And last year I did rot a good amount of my corms, and it's very easy to do, so take my advice. And you want your soil, unlike soil blocking, where you want your soil to be very wet and almost like you pick up your soil and you squeeze it and water is going to drip out of your hands. That's how wet you want it for soil blocking. For starting ranunculus, you want it moist but not wet. So it's a fine balance, and it just takes working it out. I'm just going to slowly add water as we go. And I'd rather just add a little bit at a time. also find that ranunculus is like very easy to grow. Once you get them pre-sprouted, you're kind of out of the danger zone. They're kind of just like free going from there. And if you live in a warmer climate, like zone 8 or above, I really recommend that you consider fall starting them. If you are getting a late start or you haven't ordered yours already and you live in zone 8, 9, or 10, it's totally fine. You can still start this fall. It's not going to hurt. You can still start in the early spring, late winter. It's not going to hurt anything. And I really just recommend giving ranunculus a try. And it doesn't even have to be expensive ranunculus. I truly believe that any of the wonderful ranunculus, I think I'm going to add a slight bit more moisture in here. Slight. So that it feels thoroughly damp. Okay, this looks perfect to me. So let's go ahead and lay out our makeshift kind of quadrants. And so I'm just going to kind of play with it and make up three quadrants. And I may have room to start some more ranunculus in here, or I may just start on another tray. Doesn't really matter. It's also cost effective. Okay, so the first step after you get your foil laid down, I'm just poking holes in my foil, because I want to make sure if I have to add more moisture that it's going to drain out. If you use a pan or a roasting dish or a baking dish like I have before, you can totally do that. You just have to be even more careful about the amount of moisture that you're adding or putting in. And you just want to add a bottom layer of soil. So once you got your little foil dividers up, this one, I'm going to be really careful. And this is the antique pink. I'm going right here, keeping my label on here so I know what's what. And see how they are shaped? You want to go pointy legs down, and this is kind of the top part. This is where the stem, this is where the plant grows up above ground, and these are where the roots grow out of the bottom. So we are just going to kind of place them just like so on top of the soil. You could even pack them in closer together. I've certainly done that before and it hasn't hurt them. And these are actually not roots that I've grown since soaking them. These are roots from a previous growing season. And the wonderful thing about these ranunculus is if you live in a zone 8 or warmer, you can leave them in the ground and they will be a perennial for you. Or if you want to take them out of the ground and store them, you can. It's very easy to do. So these, once you buy them, once you spend the money on the cost, this one's kind of iffy. I'll still try it. Once you spend the money on it, that's it. You don't really have to. There are many, many years of good use for you in them. And then this will be our porcelain. And now you just want to come back through and cover them up, just slightly covering them up. And you kind of want to pat them in. Now that these are soiled up, I'm going to put them in a shaded area. I don't want to put them anywhere in direct sun because they're going to dry out really quickly, and then you're going to be chasing them with water, and then you have more potential for rot. So just put them in a nice shaded area. Keep an eye on their moisture levels. Come out and check on them every couple of days. You can even cover the tops. Sometimes I cover them, sometimes I don't. I don't really know if there's much difference in that. If I feel like they're drying out really quickly, then I will go ahead and cover them up. But if they stay moist for a few days without having to really add much to water to them, then I will just leave them uncovered. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put them in a nice shaded spot, and then we are going out to the garden to plant some seeds. Okay, so I have this little area of cleaned out garden bed here, and I have some drip irrigation. So I'm just going to start direct seeding first with the Orlaya. I have a packet and a half of the Orlaya. And so we're going to just start direct seeding those. And then I'm going to follow it with this Misty Lavender Larkspur and this Fancy Smoke Eyes Larkspur. And I'm going to put photos up for you. So basically we're just taking advantage of the huge amount of seeds that we have left. And I'm going to just be starting like dropping a cluster at the openings where I see the holes for the drip irrigation, so I know that those are going to be moistened nicely. And I don't have a lot of confidence in my direct seeding abilities, so I'm just going thick. I am just gonna lay it on thick right in here. And I have a ton of seeds as well. So this is my other packet of Orlaya. Okay, so that's it. I spread our extra Orlaya and Larkspur, and hopefully we have some natural germination. I did start some inside on the soil blocks, but hey, we want to make sure we cover our bases, and those are two spring essentials that I never want to be without. So hopefully between this and what we started inside, we'll definitely get some Larkspur and some Orlaya. All right, thank you everyone for joining me, and I hope you join me next time.